Why doesn't the city of Winterhold just rebuild, for crying out loud? Well, what's up guys, Acer Thorn here, and welcome to another Elder Scrolls lore and discussion video. I do these story analysis and discussion videos on a regular basis, so if you'd like to see more of them, hit that subscribe button to stay notified. One of the main themes of Skyrim, from a storytelling perspective, is how once proud organizations have fallen from grace. You see evidence of this main theme all over the game. Even on the game's box art, it looks like the symbol of the Septim Dynasty, but it's half crumbled, a clear foreshadowing of what's to come when you actually boot up the game. Inside the game, the Empire is the most obvious example of this main theme at work. They are clearly a shell of their former glory. They are seen by many in Skyrim as mere occupiers of Skyrim, rather than the legitimate government that they almost certainly would have been seen as if the second, third, or fourth games in the franchise took place in Skyrim. Another great example of this main theme at work is with the Dark Brotherhood. They are literally the last Dark Brotherhood branch in Tamriel. Whereas in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, the Dark Brotherhood was at the height of its power and glory, Skyrim has the Night Mother and her Keeper fleeing to Skyrim, not because it's a tactical move, but because there's literally nowhere else for them to go. Even by the end of the quest line, the Brotherhood is reduced to a fraction of the already dwindling size it was at the start. The Thieves Guild continues this main theme, as they are also a shell of their former glory. In Oblivion, they had enough organization and enough underground contacts to get the captain of the guard for the Imperial City reassigned to a different city and even managed to steal an Elder Scroll. Even in Skyrim, just 25 years before the events of the game, Delvin says that they were feared all over Skyrim, not just in Riften. The College of Winterhold is still technically as strong as it always was. However, it still continues this main theme because Skyrim is the first game in the franchise not to have a Mages Guild. Unlike the Fighters Guild, which is said to still exist in Tamriel, but just doesn't have a branch in Skyrim, the Mages Guild is entirely kaput. The Companions are a bit more difficult to justify in this regard. From an outsider's perspective, they appear to still be at the height of their power. However, as I explain in a standalone video on the topic, they have become morally bankrupt and corrupted by a lust for power. They enjoy killing for its own sake, even at the expense of innocent lives. And when someone isn't willing to give them what they want, they just run in and take what they want by force. See my video on why the Companions are evil for more details. The city of Winterhold contributes to this main theme in a much more obvious way than its namesake college does. Like with the Dark Brotherhood, like with the Thieves Guild, just like with the Empire itself, you need take only one look at the city of Winterhold, or what's left of it at least, and see how it is now a shell of its former self. The Jarl of Winterhold claims that Winterhold used to be the capital of Skyrim, but now, aside from the college, there are only 4 buildings inside the dwindling city. Riverwood has more buildings than that, and it's only a minor supporting village to Whiterun Hold. Residents of Winterhold blame this dwindling size on what is known as the Great Collapse. 90 years before the events of the game, the Sea of Ghosts wanted its bottle and threw a tantrum when he didn't get it. Nearly the entirety of the city of Winterhold was wiped off the map thanks to the numerous tsunamis that pounded at the city. The only things that remained of the once glorious city were the Jarl's Longhouse, a single general goods store, a single residence, and an inn where the vast majority of the few remaining citizens now reside. The College of Winterhold survived entirely intact, even though it was center stage for most of the tidal waves. Savos Aran, the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, says that this is due to the fact that it had erected magical barriers. However, many residents of Winterhold say that the college outright caused the Great Collapse. Now, I'm not here to evaluate whether this accusation has any merit to it. At least not today. Instead, rather than focus on what happened to the city, I'd like to focus instead on what the city is doing right now. which is not a damn thing. Think about this for a minute. The Great Collapse occurred 90 years ago. There isn't a single Nord in the city of Winterhold who still actually remembers life before the Great Collapse. How do I know this? Because unlike elves, Nords have human lifespans, and while humans can indeed live to be more than 90 years old, there is nobody in Winterhold who is that old. You know how I know this? Because Skyrim's character creation system doesn't have an age slider, so the elderly are represented in the game by a separate race called the Old People race. Well, there are only two people in Winterhold who are members of the Old People race, Septimus Cygnus and Tolfdir, who are past and present members of the College of Winterhold respectively. This means that there isn't a single Nord in the actual city of Winterhold who is old enough to have personal memories of the Great Collapse. Most of the other factions I discussed earlier in this video are at least doing something to attempt to remedy their current predicament. The Empire is struggling to hold on to what little power and influence it still has by not allowing Skyrim to secede from the Empire. The Dark Brotherhood are sending out scouts to try and hear about people performing the Black Sacrament. The Thieves Guild is sending its members to various other holds in Skyrim to perform jobs in order to make a name for themselves again. The Companions aren't really doing anything, but that's because they're blinded by their own evil, that they don't even realize that they need to improve. The one Companion who does feel that they've fallen from grace, Kodlak, is struggling to cure his own lycanthropy. But what has the city of Winterhold actually done? Sure, they can't exactly rebuild their homes in the same places they were before, seeing as the land they were built on appears to have been wiped away right alongside the architecture. Even the college looks like it's balanced on a very thin pillar where the slightest breeze should send it toppling down. However, why don't they just migrate a little bit south and rebuild there? It's not like there's anyone already living there to begin with. Heck, the Dunmer have an excuse for why they don't simply return to Morrowind now that the eruption of Red Mountain was 195 years ago. Because Red Mountain is still spewing large amounts of ash, even if it isn't erupting per se. So Morrowind is still uninhabitable. So, what's Winterhold's excuse? Honestly, I'm at a loss here. If you guys were clicking on this video hoping that I might be able to pull some miracle explanation out of my ass by digging deep into the bowels of Elder Scrolls lore, much like I did with the video about the origins and function of the Eye of Magnus, then I'm afraid you're going to be sorely disappointed. Maybe someone in the comments section has a plausible theory about why the people of Winterhold seem content simply sitting around feeling sorry for themselves while doing absolutely nothing to better their own situation. If anyone out there has a plausible theory that is soundly grounded in established Elder Scrolls lore, post a comment. I'll pin my favorite theory. In the meantime, however, I am Acerthorn, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Peace!